Dear students, in continuation to my previous video, I am doing this with two more numericals which appeared in previous question papers. For your convenience, for the boosting of your confidence level, I have uploaded the picture of previous question paper at the end of this file. Please check this. Okay, so better you take the printout, as been telling you, take a printout, or one of you take a printout and rest of you can photocopy it. Now let's see, the information given here is, he is asking us to construct a balance sheet with given figures. As I told you, there will be two or three kinds of patterns from ratio analysis chapter in your examination. One will be, you'll be directly given a balance sheet and you'll be asked to calculate ratios. The other pattern is reverse of it. You'll be given figures and you'll be asked to calculate, construct a balance sheet. So here it is kind of a reverse thing, like, you'll be supplied with some information like this. Okay, and you will be asked to balance sheet with as many figures as possible. And as you know, balance sheets, two sides should be equal, asset sides and liability side. Then only we'll confirm that the balance sheet is correct in all aspects. So let's do this. So here information given is stock velocity is 6, that is stock turnover ratio is 6. It means that our stock has converted to sales in this accounting year for 6 times. Stock velocity or stock turnover stock has turned into sales for 6 times during the year. And capital turnover ratio, our capital has turned into sales. The capital to sales ratio is 2, that is, if capital is 1 rupee, sales is 2 rupees, like that. And fixed assets to fixed assets turnover ratio is 4. Our when we compare our sales with fixed assets, it is 4. In the same way, gross profit turnover ratio is 20%. That means on sales we have a gross profit of 20%. And debtors velocity is 2 months. That means debtors are those people whom we have sold our goods on credit. So on an average, those debtors have paid with a time span of 2 months. Within 2 months after they purchase from us, they have paid. That is 2 months. In the same way, creditors velocity, we have paid to our creditors an average of 73 days during the year. Okay, so 73 days during the year. And gross profit figure is also given as 60,000. So we're also given a percentage on sales, and we are also given the figure. So with this we can easily ascertain sales, and also given a figure of reserves and surplus. These reserves and surplus will be emanating from the previous year's net profit, which is left over by not distributing to the shareholders. This 20,000 is balance of net profit from the previous years. And closing stock is 5,000 in excess of opening stock. This is not rupees 5,000. Closing stock is 5,000 more than opening stock. So we have to crack this to find out opening stock and closing stock. So let's start our working. So the first information, easy to crack, is gross profit at 20% of sales is 60,000. So if 20% is 60,000, then what is 100%? Simply, that is 3 lakhs. 20% is nothing but 1/5 of total figure. So 1/5 is 60,000. Then the total 5 parts will become 60,000 into 5, or simply 60,000 into 100 by 20. We'll get this sales. So sales is 3 lakhs. So this is nothing but calculation of 100% when 20% is given. That's all. Very much simple. And cost of goods sold. From this we can calculate cost of goods sold also. As we know, cost of goods sold is equals to sales minus gross profit. So we know sales figure, that is 3 lakhs. Just we have calculated over here. This is 3 lakhs, and 60,000 it is a given figure. So 3 lakhs minus 60,000 is 2,40,000. That is cost of goods sold. And stock velocity is given as 6. That is stock velocity or stock turnover ratio. The formula for that one is cost of goods sold divided by average stock. And average stock in turn is equals to opening stock plus closing stock by 2. So here average stock is equals to nothing but we are supplied with the information of 6, that is stock turnover ratio. So average stock, we know the formula. So simply if we interchange, the formula will become average stock is equals to cost of goods sold divided by stock turnover ratio. Let me, okay, just a moment. Let me put it for you so that you won't be confused. Average stock is equals to cost of goods sold divided by stock velocity or stock turnover ratio. Okay, so I've simply interchanged the figures. Yeah, so average stock is equals to cost of goods sold divided by 6, that is stock velocity or stock turnover ratio. So we got average stock as 40, and we know that average stock is equals to opening stock plus closing stock by 2. So we can put this into this equation, average opening stock plus closing stock by 2, and we are supplied the information that closing stock is 5,000 more than opening stock. So if we apply the equation, so that to satisfy this particular equation, the opening stock must be 37,500 and closing stock should be 42,500. This is simple calculation. If for example, if both are same, then closing stock 40,000, opening stock 40,000, that is 80,000 divided by 2 would have been 40,000. But the condition is closing stock is 5,000 more than opening stock. So it should be 37,500 opening stock and closing stock 42,500. And next calculation, capital turnover ratio. It is given as 2. We are supplied with this information of capital turnover ratio. If we see this, I am going to the question part. You see, capital turnover, yeah, here it is. Second thing, capital turnover ratio is 2. Yeah, it is nothing but capital turnover ratio is nothing but sales divided by capital. So sales we know 3 lakhs and capital we have to calculate, and the equation is equals to 2. So simply capital will be 1,50,000. So simple, just like that. And fixed assets turnover ratio is equals to 4. Just like capital turnover ratio, sales divided by fixed assets is equal to 4. It is also a given figure. If you observe the question, fourth information is this one, fixed assets turnover ratio. So 3 lakhs divided by fixed assets is equal to 4, and in turn fixed assets is equal to 75,000. Yeah, here now it comes debt collection period is equals to 2 months. Debt collection period is 2 months. And debt collection period formula is number of days in a year divided by debtors turnover ratio. And number of days in a year, this is a note, please observe this. Number of days in a year is 360 days, taken as 360 days for our convenience, even though if it is 365, just to avoid decimal points and make calculations easy, we can consider this as 360. So ultimately 360 number of days in a year we know, as we are considering it as 360. So Just a moment, something happened. Yeah, close the header footer section. Yeah, so debt collection period is 2 months. It is given as 2 months. Yeah, so for our convenience, we are considering the number of days in a year as 360. So 360 divided by 2 months is nothing but 60 days. So equal to 6. So data turnover ratio we have found out for this formula. Data turnover ratio is 6. And we know some other formula like data turnover ratio is equals to sales minus average debtors. So it's like small solving a simple puzzle. We are supplied with debt collection period. From debt collection period we are calculating data turnover ratio, and from data turnover ratio we are going to calculate average debtors. Okay, so here if you see sales, we know that is 3 lakhs, and you know so in turn average debtors is equals to, you see this formula, simply altered this. So we know this debtors turnover ratio, that is 6, and we know this sales, that is 3 lakhs, and simply if average debtors goes to left side and debtors turnover ratio becomes denominator to sales, so it will be automatically equal to average debtors is equals to 3 lakhs divided by 6, that is 50,000. Average debtors are debtors, equal to 50,000. When the opening debtors and closing debtors are not given, only debtors is given, we have to consider the figure as average debtors and closing debtors also. And in the same way this calculation is also made, just like average collection period, average payment period is 73 days, and assuming all purchases are credit purchases, when nothing is given about credit sales and credit purchases, all the sales and purchases to be considered as credit only. So we know that cost of goods sold, we know the equation that cost of goods sold is equals to opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. So I've altered the equation to find out the amount of purchases made here. So simply closing stock will become this one. So we have solved the equation for purchases. We know that, let me type here for your convenience. So actually cost of goods sold is equals to opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. So this is the equation. So I have rewritten this equation. To find out this purchase amount, because we know cost of goods sold we have earlier calculated, and we know closing stock and opening stock. So simply we got that by altering this equation into this equation. Okay, so this cost of goods sold, yeah, we have already got 2,40,000, and we know 42,500, and we know 37,500. So purchase is 2,45,000. Let me check. There is a small, yes, it is good. Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. Okay. So it should be, yeah, of course. So automatically when we solve it for purchases, this closing stock will go towards left side and opening stock will also go towards left side. So it will become negative figures. That's what happened here. Cost of goods sold plus closing stock minus opening stock. That is right. We got purchase as 2,45,000. Okay. And formula for creditors payment period is given by same, just like average collection period, that is number of days in a year divided by creditors turnover ratio. So here it is given as 73 days. It is given as 73 days, just similar to our earlier calculation. So that is 73 average collection period is equals to number of days in a year. We can consider this one as 360 or 365, no issues. In here I have taken 360 for our calculation purpose. Now I am taking it as 365. That is our will and wish, no problem. Nobody will question this. So we can put 360 also here, but it will be again decimal point. So average collection period is equals to number of days in a year divided by creditors turnover ratio. So in turn, creditors turnover ratio is equal to 365 by 73, that is 5. And in turn, creditor turnover ratio is given by the formula credit purchases divided by average creditors. So, sorry. Purchase divided by, it should be creditors turnover ratio. So sorry. Let me explain you further. Creditors turnover ratio is equals to credit purchases divided by average creditors. So I just wanted to remove the confusion. Yeah. So credit purchases we have just calculated as 2,45,000, and credit turnover ratio we know 5. So we are solving this for average creditors. We're solving this for average creditors is equals to turnover ratio. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. So simply converting this equation to find out average creditors. We know this formula. We are simply converting this particular equation to find out average creditors. So average creditors is equal to credit purchases divided by creditor turnover ratio, that is 2,45,000 divided by 5. So average creditors is equals to 49,000, or simply we can find out our creditors with this equation, that is nothing but credit purchases divided by number of days in a year multiplied by 70 the days. We can this is a direct equation, but for your understanding I have made all this calculation. So simply go through this now. So we have calculated all the figures, that is 6 figures we have calculated, and we have simply put those all figures. You see the balance sheet is matched here. If you see capital, you see capital is 1,50,000, that is calculated point number 3. If you go up and check point number 3, you see it is, yeah, capital. We got capital here from point number 3. In the same way, debtors is 5, point number 5. If you go up and check how we got this point, this from debt collection period information we have calculated debtors, that is 50,000. So this is 50,000. Like that I have calculated all the figures. This reserves and surplus information is given in the numerical itself, and the rest of this thing, after putting all these figures, the rest of these figures we can simply say it as cash and bank balance, that is balancing figure is 51,500. So this is what is the numerical on a pattern where you will be asked to calculate, you will ask it to construct a balance sheet with given figures.